I was supposed to do another video today. Another hobby nightmare. Not another rant. This is the most disgusting company in the world right now. In terms of geekdom. That's strong, I know. It's strong. I mean, I've tried to stay away from this rhetoric on the channel of, you know, GW bad. I'm the kind of person who, if I walk into a room and everybody has a prevailing opinion on something, and everybody's nodding along and agreeing, I'm the kind of person who says, well, what about the other side? What are they saying? What's happening over there? I tend to buck the trend. I tend to go away and do my own thing. Especially when it comes to Games Workshop. I'm sure you've seen that on my channel before. If they do good, I stand up for them, right? If they do good stuff, I stand up for them. If there are ways to mitigate your love of the hobby with Games Workshop's hostile practices towards you, I'll try and find that mitigating factor. I can't here. And we've been here too many times for me to sit here and tell you to keep buying Warhammer. Let's have a little read of this that came out yesterday. A bit too late for me to do a video. 2024 pricing update. And again, lots of other people on YouTube have already done a video on this. But hey, here I am putting my 2 cents in, because if I don't, I'll get emails asking me why I haven't. So here we go. It's an unfortunate truth that the world keeps getting more expensive. Prices for food, materials, and transportation have been trending upwards for a few years now, and Warhammer isn't immune to that trend. Okay, that's the first thing that annoys me. That's the very first thing that annoys me. When a hundreds of millions of pounds worth of company, right, when they dictate to you, you know, oh, we're just the everyman, really. We're the everyman, right? You know, prices have gone up, guys, you know, we're really sorry, but, you know, food's gone up, power's gone up, materials has gone up, transportation's gone up. Yeah, we know. We know, because we're not you. And we actually feel the pinch. We're not making £50 million a year in profit every single year. Alright? We know. And yet your prices are still going up. This means that from the 10th of June, we'll be increasing some prices in our Warhammer stores and on Warhammer.com. When they say some, they mean all, right? Your paints and books are staying the same, okay, fine. All the things that matter, the models, are going up, right? That's corporate speak. The price changes for individual products will vary, but in most countries, the average change will be between 3 and 5%. I'm going to be honest with you guys, that is huge. 3 and 5% is huge. As an example of what you might expect, a squad of Necron warriors goes up $2 from $50 to $52, £30 to £31.50, and €40 to €41, or local currency equivalent. Okay, this is a huge price increase. It may not, 3 to 5% may not seem like much, but it is. It is a massive price increase for a product that's already this expensive. Any single line Games Workshop produce, right, and I know this from the horse's mouth, any single line that they produce, essentially, not even the first run, the first half of the first run of a product pays for the product, okay? So if you've got like a new Grey Knight box set coming out, right? Let's say Miracle by Miracles, they release a Primaris-sized Grey Knight box. They're never going to, but let's say they do, right? And it costs £60 to buy that, whatever it is, box set. It's not going to cost that. It costs about £70, right? £70. Well, in the first half of that first run, and by the way, Grey Knights are a niche army, in the first half of that first run, the product pays for itself. It pays for its molds, it pays for its machining, it pays for its staff costs, it pays for all of that stuff in the first half of its first run, okay? I've heard other people say that it's the first run and a half, or the first run. No, it's the first half, right? The first half of the first run pays for the model range, right? Pays for what you've made. Everything beyond that is sheer profit. Sheer profit. This is why this company makes £50 million on average in profit a year. Now, I've watched quite a few videos. The ones I haven't watched because I know they would frame my own opinion. I've left until later because those are people who I class as friends of mine, and they're likely to change my own opinion. So I wanted to get mine pretty much unadulterated on here. This price increase is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. I've done videos like this before in the past, and quite frankly, I'm fucking sick of doing them. And I can't stand them. I just cannot stand them. I cannot stand videos like this where I've got to come on and torpedo my own hobby because they won't do it properly. They won't. Okay? Let me just go back to my little picture here just to calm myself down, because I really am at the end of my tether. So, here's the thing though with Games Workshop is the costs of their business should be going down, not up. Almost any other industry in human history that is profitable gets cheaper with more practice and time. Your staff get trained in how to use the gear properly. The process becomes more streamlined and easier to mass produce. Okay? It's just what happens. Look at graphics processors, right? At the start of their run, they're really expensive, and as time goes on, yes, they get cheaper because other models come out and the tech gets older. But the way to manufacture them also gets cheaper, right? We find ways of automating these incredibly advanced pieces of kit to the fact that by the middle of their run, they're nearly half the price of what they were when they came out. Okay? That's just where we are. That is just where we are. And that's before things run on. The 40 series, by the way, their price has plummeted at times. Because it's gotten easier and easier and easier to make them. And make them with cheaper parts. Alright, the 50 series isn't even out or announced yet. And yet, you know, the 40 series is coming down in price. Because things get cheaper. And that's a very niche product. You know, a graphics card is a very niche product. Extremely niche, extremely expensive, but it's still coming down in price. Over time. Exponentially. Warhammer and Games Workshop is the only thing that I know of that gets more expensive despite the factors that produce it not changing. And I do not believe for a fucking second that Games Workshop spends enough money making Warhammer to make these price increases, you know, meaningful and needed. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe any of this hogwash where they tell you, oh, yeah, you know, the cost of living, blah, 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 that's bollocks. That's an insult. This right here, this is an insult. The cost of living they're bringing up here. The cost of living, really. You make toy soldiers, mate. Alright? You make toy soldiers. You priced me out a long time ago. So God knows what anybody else is going through, because I teach for a living. And you priced me out. I can't do it anymore. Right? It's ridiculous. I don't care if the prices for food and materials and power and transportation have gone up. You're still making £50 million a year in clean profit. That's after you've paid for everything. Profit in the coffers, in your coffers, every single year, £50 million. So you tell me why I should pay more for your fucking products when you're making that much money every single year. Please, Games Workshop, make that case. You tell me why I should give you yet more money when you're making more money than any of us will ever see in a lifetime, multiple lifetimes in a year. You tell me. You justify that, please. They are cowards. They will not come on here or anywhere else to let you know what the score is in terms of this. It's ridiculous. Cannot stand it. Games Workshop are making record profits, as I just said, of around £50 million a year. A year. That is clear profit. There is nothing to take away from that. Right? Profit. But this is not enough for a publicly traded company. And here's where we hit our problems. If a company makes £50 million in 1 year and £45 million in the following year, then that company, in the eyes of its shareholders, is failing. Even if it makes a profit of £50 million in 2023, right? If it then goes on to make a profit of £45 million in the following year, all the shareholders see is minus £5 million. Right? The problem here is not the idea of capitalism itself, as communists in the comment section will like to point out. No, the system isn't the problem. As in, fire isn't a problem until you lob it at somebody's house, right? Capitalism isn't the problem. Greed is the problem. And Games Workshop seem utterly incapable of reading a room. So why the price rises? Well, beyond them being evil, let's try and have a look and see if there is any reason for the price rise, and I think I have a few. The Games Workshop part of the hobby is dying, and Games Workshop is killing it. The hobby itself is probably the healthiest it's ever been in a long time, but the Games Workshop form of the hobby is shrinking. It's dying. It is an innumerable fact, right? It is something that we can't put a number against. What I mean by that is, you can look at Games Workshop's profits, right? And you can say, well, Games Workshop are making £50 million a year, so the hobby is thriving. No. No. Less people are playing the hobby year on year because they're being chased away by these ridiculous prices. In essence, with every price increase, Games Workshop lose more customers, and so with shareholders driving the need for yearly growing profits, they must raise their prices again because now they are trying to squeeze more money from less customers. This is literally the corporate version of squeezing blood from a fucking stone. Literally, alright? It's a vicious cycle. Games Workshop get greedy, raise their prices, people leave. Shareholders want more money. Games Workshop looks at the hobby, realises a lot of people left, so they need to increase the prices again. To make sure that they're making up that fault, right? They're making up for the loss of the customers. More customers leave because they raise the prices again. Shareholders want more money. Games Workshop look around. Oh my god, we've now got half the customers we had last time. Oh my god, raise the prices again. Because we need to make the money. We need to make it back. They raise the prices. More customers leave. And here we go. We're circling the drain. This is why there was such a focus on new customers and recruitment when working at Games Workshop. They were obsessed with not nurturing existing customers at all, but getting rid of them in favour of new customers who are not yet jaded by price increases, because they'll spend more money. Of course, they didn't tell you this as a staffer, but their actions spoke far louder than their words. They are obsessed with new money. They are obsessed with new people. If you are somebody who's been around in the hobby for years, congratulations. They don't give a shit about you, and they don't want you in their stores. Because you're jaded. Alright? They've reamed you already. You're not a whale. The actual people who are whales in this hobby are very, very, very low. In terms of giving money to the company, right? There aren't that many of them out there. And so, Games Workshop doesn't really cater to them. They cater to new people. They want new people coming into the hobby all the time. The thing is, and the thing for me is that they're only going to, if they carry on this trajectory, I'm being honest now, I can see in 20 years them not being around at all. This is the first time I've ever said this on the channel. The first time I've ever come to the epiphany of, hang on a minute, this is not sustainable. Okay? This is not sustainable. Again, it's a vicious circle and it only leads one way. To the death of their business. Don't look at the £50 million a year profit and think that they're doing well. Okay? Another wrestling analogy, because it's crazy how Games Workshop and WWE are almost the same thing. It's crazy. Especially when WWE wasn't being run very well. It is now, which shows you that you can turn things around. But back then, no, right? There's a guy called CM Punk, and he said once about Vince McMahon, who ran WWE at the time, he's a millionaire who should be a billionaire. Yeah, and that's what Games Workshop have, right? They are a multi-million pound company that should be a billion-pound, multi-billion-pound company. If they just knew how to grow their business. You know how you do it? lower your fucking prices. Lower your prices. Tell the shareholders to fucking do one. Alright? Tell them, nice and public, we're lowering the prices. Why? Because we believe lowering the prices and giving some of our profits back to the customer will lead to tenfold increases in time. If you want record numbers of people coming back into the hobby, if you want sustainable growth, Games Workshop, then that's what you do. You lower your prices. You lower them and you bring people into the hobby. And you make sure that you have money 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line. Your very own mission statement is, we want to create the best wargaming miniatures in the world, and we want to continue doing this forever. Well, your actions fly directly counter to what your own mission statement apparently is. Counter complete. You lower your prices, you bring more people into the hobby, you pull people back who were jaded and going away, and you have a new renaissance on your hands. You may lose some money in the first year. When I say lose money, you'll still make profit, but you might make £30 million in sheer profit that year, instead of £50 million in sheer profit that year. But you still make sure that you maintain the hobby, your company, going forwards. And that profit you make will go up and up and up as we go on through the years, as more people come back to the hobby, through goodwill and wanting more models. You build it, they will come, right? What Games Workshop are doing right now is squeezing blood from that stone. They're demanding more money from fewer and fewer and fewer customers. This is not sustainable. And how they've gotten themselves to this point is a fucking travesty to me. They were given the golden goose. They were given 40k. They were given literally the keys to the castle. All they had to do was go over to the key and unlock it. And what they've done is lost that key in the moat. It's ridiculous what they've done. And this can't go on. And I fear for them. And you're gonna think this sounds weird, you know, but I do. I fear for them. I fear for them. Because if we lose Games Workshop from our entire sphere here, yeah, me and you will be fine, you know? Me and you, the guy or girl watching this video, will be fine. We'll be completely fine. No problem whatsoever. Because we love wargaming and we'll just go and play something else. Or we'll go and 3D print our own models, you know? We'll go and make our own games with blackjack and hookers. It's my favourite saying because I love Futurama, right? But we'll go and do that. We'll go and do our own thing. And we'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine. Who I fear for is the new people coming into the hobby. Let's be honest here. When you start this hobby, what do you get into? You get into Games Workshop. You get into Warhammer. You get into the brand leader is what you get into. Which is fine. But at the same time, my God, man. My God. Can you imagine if that isn't here anymore? Imagine if Disney isn't here for animation. For people coming into animation, right? People wanting to... Kids wanting to start in animation. Imagine you take all Disney stuff away. It's no longer a thing. You can't get it anymore. Right? Animation takes a massive hit. It may survive, but it'll take a massive hit. Now, the people who already love Disney stuff, they've got their stuff already, right? But what about the kids growing up? Same thing with wargaming. What about the new people coming into the hobby? What do? They haven't got Games Workshop or Warhammer 40k to buy anymore. So what do they do? Right? They are the market leader for a reason. I mean, we may dislike them. We may not like them. We may not get on with them. They may have ruined your life. You know, they may have ruined your hobby like they did for me. Right? But I still understand. I've got more reason to hate them than anyone. But I still understand they are a net positive for the hobby most of the time. The reason why wargaming is such a huge thing is because Games Workshop had a big hand in building the house we live in as wargamers. A huge hand in it. Massive. If you lose this company, you lose part of the soul of what wargaming is. And you lose a lot of people who would have come in to play with us. And now they won't. Because there's not going to be Warhammer around, and in 10 to 15 years they'll be gone. Right? This company will be gone. Either gone or absorbed by something else. And turned into something else. You know? That's where they're heading. They are not reading the room. And how can a company, my final point, how can a company look at the sheer quality of 3D printed models? That's even surprised me. Do you guys remember that video ages ago, years ago now, when I said, listen, 3D printing at Games Workshop's quality, sorry, that's me, 3D printing at Games Workshop's quality is at least 10 years away. Right? Remember when I said that? I was wrong. It's there now. Barely 4 years after I said that, it's there now. I said that, I think, in 2021. So nearly 4 years. At the end of 2021, nearly 4 years. Or was it at the start? I think it was at the start. Yeah, at the start of 2021. So nearly 4 years have gone down the line. 3 years, 4 years. Don't know, maths. Sorry, I'm a historian. So 3 years, let's say, have gone past of that cycle. 3. Not even. And we're already at the point where 3D printing isn't just matching Games Workshop. There are certain 3D printed models that are better than Games Workshop. Alright? I'm not going to say their names, but I'm currently emailing back and forth with an amazing looking company. Absolutely amazing. And they are doing 3D printed models for Warhammer and other games. Not to replace Games Workshop, but to accentuate what you can already do with the Warhammer rules, right? And especially Grimdark Future and all that sort of stuff. So they may be sponsoring the channel going forward. We'll see. But at the end of the day, I know there are companies out there because I speak to them. I speak to these companies that sell you models that are far cheaper than Games Workshop, that do a better job at representing 40k than Games Workshop does. So if that's the case, why aren't Games Workshop reading the room? Why can't they look around and go, shit, we're in trouble here? Because they're making stuff, they're making quality that is just as good as ours. Just as good. But they're selling it far cheaper. Games Workshop take your loyalty for granted. I'm telling you now. They continue to squeeze the few people they have left, and every time they squeeze, more people escape. More people go away and say, I'm not paying that ever again. You guys are dead to me. And they lose them. They have a shrinking customer base. Even if it looks like they have massive profits. I know it looks like that way. But they have a shrinking customer base. And there will come a point where we are at terminal velocity. Right? Where they've lost enough customers that they're now not selling enough to keep their profits going up. And I think we're nearly there. I think this might be the one. This might be the one. Where finally, they make £40 million in sheer profit another year. I know, woe is them. Do you know what I mean? But still, they're classed as a failing company if they do that. Okay? And then then more people sell their stock. They lose their value. Then they make another £30 million the next year. And down and down and down it goes. Because they've driven off so many people. And eventually, they will either need to climb down off this horse and give us a massive price decrease to get people back into the hobby, but it may be too late by then. They will, I'm telling you now, they will, and it may be too late by then. In 5 to 10 years, when that price decrease happens because they're panicking, it may be too late. That may be it. They may be circling the drain already. And because their customers have gone to better companies. Smaller companies, but better companies. Run by people who are passionate and love their hobby. Those kinds of people. That's my Steam, by the way, downloading a game, not yours. I'm on a new PC, lovely new PC. I'm on a new PC, so it's I haven't done all of my my settings yet. But here's the thing. All of those passionate people, those really good people who've come in and they want to fill the void where Games Workshop is, right? They're literally going to take away that market share. Games Workshop will lose that market share if they're not careful. Because they're squeezing blood from a stone. Their customer count is going down and their prices are going up to make up for the fact that their customer count is going down. That's not sustainable. Alright? That is a circling of the drain. And any investor, if you're thinking of investing in a company, steer well clear of this fucking company right now. Steer well clear. You will lose your money. Steer clear. Don't put your money into Games Workshop. That is my advice, right? I know, no time economist here. Do you know what I mean? I've got no qualifications whatsoever. But I'm telling you now, I know Games Workshop. I fucking know Games Workshop like an ex-girlfriend. I know Games Workshop like an ex... I was at Games Workshop for longer than any of my relationships. They are my most toxic ex, right? I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now. Alright? This is not this may be a company that fools you by having £50 million in profit every single year. But that will stall and fail and go away because they're trying to squeeze more and more money out of less and less people. If you've been to business studies as a qualification, you'll know that's not sustainable. But that's where we are. What do you guys think of the price increases? Are you finally gone? Which of you, in the comment section down below, which of you have had your this is the straw that breaks the camel's back moment with this and you're done? Which of you I've done that? I've gone away and done that. Let me know in the comment section down below. Or have you been gone for ages and this is just telling you that you did the right thing? Like me. Let me know. How long do you think Games Workshop can last doing this? And do you have a different opinion to me? Let me know in the comment section. I love you a long time. I will be back with more hobby nightmares tomorrow as we get back to normal business. I love you all. Have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you then. Have a good one. Bye now.